Alright, so we're back again. This time with our round 128 to 64 match versus Bobo Chen, which I'm 80% sure is being piloted by Dark Prince because he forfeited it on his main account and he's been hired before. So looking at our two boxes, they're actually very similar. We only have 3 different units. It's Liana for my Rosen and my Zerida Sigma for his Kyra Kruger. So both of us open with a Hilda ban, which is reasonable because, well, they're similar and they're both single target box mainly. So getting Hilda out of the way is very convenient. I choose to open with Pepsi and he chooses to open with Wet Ham after banning my Wet Ham and Werner. So this suggests that he's going for more threat range. He wants to open up the map first. Here I ban Elwin Lucretia and I end up picking Rosen. I think this was like an autopilot from my first game. I did a similar draft. I banned Elwin, I banned the 2 revive units, and then I picked Rosen because there was a Kruger and Himiko. Which in hindsight is definitely not the correct choice. Because by picking this Rosen, 1, I lose 2 more key DPSs. And I also make it harder for myself to pick CC White down the line because I'm gonna have 2 healers at that point. So I also which means that it's harder for me to pick CC White to make a Lancer tank. So he copies my ban here and he takes Aegis to enable a teleport play, which is very good for trading. So here I ban Cherry Helena because I was worried about TJS making a teleport play and I wouldn't be able to respond because my opening picks are pretty bad at responding on turn 1. Which actually means that Sigma was also not the best pick here. Probably I should have picked Helena or Ares. Not sure why I didn't do that. Maybe I was worried that he would just easily respond with CC White. And then he'll just put the Lancer in front and still teleport to the Lancer anyways. But I think forcing the CC pick here is still okay. Again, it makes it harder for him to pick Liana as well, and I get to ban out 2 more important DPS. So yeah, so both my second and third pick were suboptimal given the situation. So here he does a similar ban as mine, and he picks up Pepsi. Which, again, is a mistake because out of all the remaining units left, I think Pepsi is probably the best janitor. In hindsight, I think I could have given Cherry. Helena is still annoying because I'm really gonna get zoned out of the map if there's both Helena and Wet Ham on the map. But I think Cherry, because Cherry's innate range is still only 6+2 on turn 1, I think that is still manageable. He won't be able to teleport it too far up. Whereas giving this makes it harder for me to deal with him late game. Because I have to trade very precisely. Otherwise, I will just instantly lose to a single Pepsi. So to round off the draft, I end up picking TJS. He goes for Kyra, which is the last DPS that's neither a healer or an AoE DPS, which makes sense. And I finish off with an Ares. Yeah, I banned out the Himiko because I was a bit worried about randomly losing my attack buff or my faction buff. Or like clocks and stuff. Versus Kruger. Kruger has a harder time trying to get in, I think. Himiko, you need to hit her twice, whereas Kruger I can kind of kill in one shot. But as a result of that, I end up giving player 2 Liana, which might be more troublesome than Himiko actually. So just by looking at the draft, it looks okay on paper. It's still 4 DPS versus 4 DPS, definitely still playable. But there were a lot of points where I could have gotten more out of the draft. So going into the game, there are more problems now because my Rosen forgot to bring Frost Dragon Breath, yeah, over Empire buff. This is mostly because I was playing 2 accounts at the same time, my main account and I'm also piloting another account. And that account finished the draft faster, and I also wanted to focus on that account more. So I ended up not having enough time to change my skills. At the time, I thought it was okay to bring Accelerated 8, but in hindsight, I should have brought his 1C ignore guard skill. Because accelerated is kind of useless because I'm expecting him to trade on my side of the map, which means I don't really need that extra mobility. It's not doing anything for me. So from the skill selection, there are 2 incorrect decisions being made here already. The rest is still standard: strengthen, long range Sigma, single target Ares. As my opponent has Shadow Stealth on Pepsi, Air Slash on Wet Ham, and the rest are as usual. So turn 1, I can see that the Wet Ham is bringing the Air Slash build, which means it's probably Spirit Boots, which means I need to hide at the back of my map. At least I need to limit what he's able to trade. Which, in this game, the DPS that I want to trade first happens to be Ares and Sigma. Pepsi is my late game janitor, and TJS is very useful to keep for later. So I hide my TJS here. And he goes for the immediate trade. And he picks my Ares. It's fine for me. Werewolf Wet Ham will die to TJS unconditionally, so it's still fine. And here I choose to just set up my Sigma, get him ready for next turn. I could just use my Ranger's Heart and kill the sword, but I figured it wasn't worth it. I wanted to start zoning with my Sigma. This sword is whatever, it's not doing anything. So he just breezes, Kyra, Gospels, TJS. Next turn, TJS strengthens, one-shots the Wet Ham. No problems here. So Ares for Wet Ham, the trade is actually still okay. My Sigma is meant to be traded for the Kyra, so I don't have any problems with that, but he chooses to retreat with the Kyra. Here, I'm not sure what the hell possessed me to finish off this sword. I think at that time my thought process was, I don't take counter damage, I'm keeping my shield, so why not? Why not? Let's just kill it and disable the Kyra. But because again, I was playing 2 accounts at the same time, I didn't really take my time to count properly. And the problem was that with Liana's Act again and a 3 range teleport, so TJS can move to this spot and teleport Epsilon next to her, and then she can move 3 steps and shoot 5 blocks because this is a mage TJS, so he has 5 range. So I didn't really take that into account, and as a result of that, I kind of just lose my Pepsi, as you see here. The shield broken, there's no way in hell I can tank a Pepsi. So here I just take the TJS and he retreats his Pepsi because there's no reason to fight on my side of the map. He just needs to go back, reset, get his skills back, and then we go again. So right now in this 3v3 situation, there are 3 ways I can try to win this game. First one is using Sigma to break Pepsi's shield and then TJS to finish. The second one is to use Sigma to kill Kyura. Then Pepsi will counter kill my Sigma, and then I have to somehow break the shield with either of my units and finish off with TJS 3C. The third way is to trade my TJS for Kyura. When Epsilon counter kills my Tensei, he will break his shield because Tensei counters at 3 range, 4 range actually, but Pepsi hits at 3 range. And then I will have to one-shot the Pepsi with my Sigma. So those are the 3 ways I could do it. At the time, I decided that the route I would take was the first one, which was to break the shield and kill him with TJs. So here we kind of just wait, because I was trying to wait for my TJ skill to come back. It's still 2 turns off cooldown. So from that position just now, I could have actually traded for the Kyra 6 range. So I stand here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My Sigma could actually take this kill. The problem was, if I took this kill here, the Epsilon will counter kill me from this block, and my Rosen didn't bring Frost Breath, so I wouldn't be able to break his shield from here. So I chose not to take that option. Here you can see I try to break his shield. Fine. He comes in to kill me. He heals back to pretty much full HP. I just cast Faction Buff because there's nothing else to do. He also Gospels his Kyra. And I strengthen here because I want to keep my egg again, and my 3C would be back next turn after I use Teleport to kill the Epsilon. Just moves the Kyra in. Here I kill the Epsilon. But sadly this Kyra is True Cross, which kills all my troops and even leaks into my body. And Rosen can't heal single target for nuts. So I'm pretty much dead to act again because he has a second skill. So yeah. So after this I kind of just... I was trying to see if I could win by damage. So... But as you can see, there's no way I'm gonna beat a Kyra that has 2 skills because she's gonna get them back before the end of the game. It's round 8 now. So that's not gonna happen. So that's basically the end of my main account's run in this playoffs. So in this, I really played this endgame really badly. There were multiple different options I could have took at multiple different points in time. So first one, so let's count from behind. So even from this position, I think, yeah, here. Instead of waiting for next turn to get my Light's Embrace back, what I could have done was I could have strengthened here and did a 4-range normal attack on this Epsilon. Even though it's on a city wall, but with this MDef of the zombies and his main body, I think I could almost kill this Epsilon, if not outright kill it. But, well, here's one thing about the zombies interaction. Because my TGS is Twilight Star, which will put the zombies below 100% when they enter battle. So they will actually heal 40%. Whereas if I'm not Twilight Star, they actually won't heal. But that's besides the points. If I shoot 4 range from here, the Kyra actually can't do anything to me and she has to end turn. So depending on what the Kyra does, if she's near me, my TJS would use 3C to kill the Kyra. Because I'm Twilight, it's pretty much guaranteed to be dead. And with a wounded Pepsi and 4 zombies, it might not be enough to counter kill my Tensei, even though it's Twilight, because he doesn't have an attack buff, his faction buff ran out. So I could possibly tank it or even counter kill the Epsilon at that HP. And if the Kyra runs away and doesn't breathe, I can just hang back and finish off the Epsilon. And I will be able to win that way. And I will be able to get my Mass Crystal healing up. So even from this position, even after making the decision to break the shield with Sigma, I actually had I could gamble my way out of this. I'm not sure if Epsilon will be able to kill TJS at that HP. We'll never know now. So other than that, I think the lowest probability play was actually the one I made, which is breaking the shield with Sigma. I think both my other options were more likely to give me the win. It was trading either Sigma or TJS for the Kyra. Go back to basically here. Or actually it's here. So we did a bit of testing afterwards, and I found out that Sigma with Epsilon's buff can actually one-shot Epsilon with his 6-range Windspear Strike. But my faction buff was running out, and at the time I didn't really have this information, so I made what I thought was the best play. In hindsight, I think I should have definitely taken this kill, but I'm not sure if my Rosen will be able to chase down the Epsilon after either, because Diana is going to get her egg again back, and the Pepsi from here will be in range of egg again, so he can just kind of just run away. And it will be very hard for me to break the shield afterwards. So, well, in hindsight, I'm not really sure which one was the better play, but there were definitely a lot of things I could have done. But it is what it is, we just move on. So, I'm going to post my games on the piloted account, but not now. I want to wait until the playoffs are over before I just kind of discuss the box and stuff. So we'll end it here for now. Thank you for watching, and well, expect the videos sometime next week, I guess. Goodbye.